Well, hey, my friend. Welcome to Creatives on Fire, the go-to podcast for content creators looking to grow their audience as well as their income. I'm so excited you're here. I'm your host, Melanie Ferguson. Well, hey there. Welcome back to the podcast, you guys. This week, I am seriously honored and cannot believe, I have to pinch myself, that I am sitting here interviewing Stu McLaren. So if you have been living under a rock and you're not familiar with who Stu is, Stu and his wife Amy live in Toronto with their two kiddos. He has been helping creatives and entrepreneurs for over 17 years discover this amazing opportunity called memberships and recurring income. So I first was introduced to him back in 2018 when I took Tribe and have never looked back. Super inspiring. Stu, welcome to the podcast.
Super glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
You're so welcome. All right, let's dive right in, shall we?
Yeah, let's go for it.
Okay, so for the person who's listening, and this is maybe their first time to hear about this mysterious new revenue income opportunity called memberships, why memberships? Why should they consider one?
Well, let me just ask you, Melanie, do you belong to any memberships?
I do, because when I heard about this, I immediately was like, I'm already, in a car wash membership. I'm
Yeah,
already in a book club membership I'm in Amazon
there
Prime,
you
which is a
go.
membership. And then, of course, some coaching memberships, etc.
Yeah, memberships are all around us. Whether we realize it or not, they're part of our everyday lives, whether it's Netflix or Spotify or Amazon Prime, as you mentioned, or Costco. You know that Costco, 73% of their bottom line revenue or profits, 73% of their profits come from not what's sold inside the warehouse. It comes from their memberships. So memberships are all around us. We belong to memberships, whether it's the software we use, whether it's the entertainment we consume, or whether it's the coaching and learning. I was just on Business Insider today and they have a pop-up that says, hey, do you want to continue reading these articles? It's $60 a year or $15 a month, right? So everywhere around us are memberships and subscriptions. And the reason that businesses are turning to that is because it is way more predictable and stable and therefore valuable. Because here's what I know to be true. Study after study shows that the number one stressor for all entrepreneurs is finances. Like, where is that next sale going to come from? And I know your audience probably feels that because, there's all kinds of things that are always creating uncertainty. Like, is TikTok going to be allowed or is it going to be banned? Like, legit, with one decision, there are millions of creators who have built a viable business on TikTok who, with one decision that they don't control, could have their whole business flipped upside down. And that creates tremendous uncertainty. What I'm here to tell you is that with a membership, it creates tremendous stability and confidence and way lower stress. And any creator or influencer or business owner can have a membership. And we'll certainly unpack some of those examples.
Yes, that's what my next thing would be, okay, you've convinced me of the viability and how important it is and how this can really enrich my life and my family's life because we won't always be on the edge of our seats wondering what's going to happen next. We can kind of have some level of comfort and peace in our finances. So what would be some ideas? What are maybe I know you have like a list of the top 4. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, you're right. There's like 4 main types of memberships. There's a product-based membership. So if anybody's selling like a physical product, the first question I would ask is how can you take it from a one-time sale and turn it into a recurring sale? So a perfect example of that is like the Dollar Shave Club. They took razors, like men's razors, and instead of hoping that customers come back and buy from them again, they just ship them out automatically as their customers pay on a monthly basis. And we see, physical product-based memberships all around us, whether it's razors, whether it's socks of the month, tie of the month, candles of the month. My wife belongs to an earring of the month. Like there's all kinds of different types of physical product memberships. Second type is a service-based membership. So Mary Claire Fredette in our community is a massage therapist. She was tired of like hoping that clients, book her again or come back into her massage studio. So she set up a membership. They pay a flat monthly fee and they get a certain number of massages. It's a great benefit for the customer because they actually get a slight discount if they were to buy them individually. And they also get much more regular service. And it's a great benefit for her because she has that predictable income that she knows is going to be there every single month. Now, interestingly enough, I caught up with her a little while ago and I asked her if she had relaunched her membership and she said no. And Melanie, my heart just kind of dropped for a second. I was like, well, what do you mean no? Like, what happened? She's like, oh, no, I haven't had to. She said 80% of the clients who signed up 3 years ago are still with me today. Like, just imagine that. That's crazy. That's a service-based membership. We see it in massage studios. We see it in car washes. We see it in barbershops. There's all kinds of ways to turn a service into a membership. The third is what I call a knowledge-based membership. This is the playground that I spend the most time in. Knowledge-based memberships are typically doing one of three things. They're either helping solve an ongoing problem, like weight loss. Somebody's not going to go from being overweight to their ideal weight like that. It takes time to solve that problem. Or like relationships. Somebody's not going to go from a terrible relationship with their spouse to like an amazing relationship with their spouse. It takes time to solve that. That's perfect for a membership. Or it's going to teach a skill. This is most common where like somebody wants to learn how to paint. Well, they're not going to go from not knowing how to paint to becoming a great artist like that. It takes time to learn those skills. Or whether it's painting or drawing or some kind of musical instrument or growing a business or growing a blog or growing a podcast, whatever it might be. Like those all are skills and skills take time to learn. And there's always depth of mastery. So even though I might get to a certain level, I can always go deeper and deeper and deeper. You yourself, you mentioned that you invest in coaching, and that's because you're trying to go deeper and deeper in your level of mastery. So that's the third kind, is a knowledge-based membership. And underneath that, there's also another one that would be what I would call a convenience. So under the knowledge-based memberships, if you can create convenience for your audience, that's a really powerful membership too. So we see a lot in our community of former teachers who have created lesson plan memberships for other teachers. So now the teachers don't have to worry and spend their evenings and weekends lesson planning. They can just belong to a membership and get the lesson plans handed to them on a silver platter. Or like I think of Nicole Melton, she has a membership providing social media templates for businesses in the beauty profession. And so again, she's saving them time. So under the knowledge-based memberships, you're either solving an ongoing problem, you're teaching a skill, or you're creating convenience for people. And then the fourth type of membership is a community-based membership. And this is where people pay to belong to a community of others who have a shared interest. One of the things that I love about the internet is that you can have the craziest passion and interest. And in your hometown, you might be the only person who has that passion or interest. But online, the internet brings all of us weirdos and wackos together, and we can like congregate. And if you can create a safe place for people who have that shared passion, they're more than willing to pay for it. So the four types are product-based, service-based, knowledge-based, and community-based. And every single business can pretty much fit into one of those categories and begin generating recurring revenue for themselves.
So two things. Number one, I also think there is the hybrid, which is obviously combining a few, because some people have a knowledge base plus community. And I feel like, yeah, you can almost put community in with almost any of them. But then when I think of the community aspect, and you said all of us weirdos, the first person that came to mind was Sweet Warren with his octopus, with his octopus memberships. So yes, that is super, super exciting. And I also think when we talk about product, I think a lot of my listeners right now have heard of printables. So selling the printables as more of a membership where you can get a package or a bundle of something digital every single month.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's the kind of stuff, again, that would fall under the knowledge-based membership, specifically convenience, right? It's making people's lives easier. You're saving them the time to create the printables or having the time to search for the printables. Like, it's just making their life easier. And anytime we can do that, that's a great, great indicator of an awesome market for a membership.
Okay. So let me ask you, as you have been doing this for 17 years, I'm sure some things have changed here and there. What is the key or the secret to growing an actual thriving membership in 2025?
Well, the first key is you got to get going. I see way too many people get caught up in overthinking and overanalyzing and over planning and waiting and waiting and waiting for that quote perfect moment. Look, there is no perfect moment. You just got to get it out there. Like, the memberships that thrive are the ones that where the membership owner gets out of their own way and they put an idea out there to their audience. And then they gauge, is this worth pursuing, yes or no, based on the response that the audience gives. And by the way, like, when you do this, and it's called a founding member launch, when you float an idea out there before you've even created anything, you're going to make so much more progress than if you spend all that time quote planning. Because as the great Nelson Mandela once said, he said, I never lose. I either win or I learn. So let's say that you put an idea out there to gauge whether your market would be interested. And let's say you immediately get a whole bunch of people that raise their hand and say, yeah, I'd love to be a founding member. You win. But let's say that you don't get anybody. Does that mean you lose? No, 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 no. No, you just learned a whole lot in that, because you just learned that what you're saying is not in alignment with what the market wants. And isn't it better to learn that before you go spend a whole bunch of time, energy, and effort creating something that your market doesn't even want? So, number one thing that I would say that contributes to thriving memberships is that they get going and they do a founding member launch. And anybody watching and listening, I know, especially with your audience, could do this legit by the end of the week, because it's about crafting one message on whatever platform that they communicate most with their audience. Maybe that's Facebook, maybe that's Instagram, maybe that's on a YouTube channel or a podcast, or maybe it's on their email list or on a blog. But wherever they're communicating with their audience, they can craft one message and they can float that idea out there, and they can begin gauging the response of their audience today. And so if you want, I'm happy to unpack what that could look like. But bottom line is that to thrive in today's economy, you got to get started. That's number one. Number two is that we've got to realize that today, AI creates so much opportunity for us to automate so much of the mundane tasks of managing and running a membership. And what that creates is an opportunity for the more human connection. And the memberships that lean into that more human connection are going to thrive because there's depth of relationship there. And so the difference maker in today's world is that people are using AI to free up time, and then using that freed up time to invest back in the relationships and personal outreach and connection with their members. And that's a big difference maker in today's membership world.
I love it, because I think in something you recently shared over on your Instagram, which we'll put all the links below where you guys can reach out to Stu, you put out a piece of content that talked about keeping it super simple. Simplicity wins, and that if people are using their brain, it doesn't open them to being able to use their heart and connect with your audience, in that way. And we
Yes.
know that you've got to hit them with the heart, and using emotions and things are super key. So if they are so busy, and same with you creating the membership, if you're so busy and not using these tools like AI to free you up to pour out your heart into your audience, you're really missing the mark. So I love that you said that. And then you mentioned on number one about the founding member launch. Let's just kind of do a quick little Cliff Notes version without all the tech details, because I know it could go forever, about what that would look like. Is it a wait list? Is it a full three-day video launch? Like, what is a founding member launch?
It is the most simple, easy thing. There's no tech involved. It is you posting a message wherever you are currently communicating with your audience. Now, inside that message, there are 5 components. First component is where you're talking about the idea. You want to talk about what the idea is and where the idea came from. It might even be as simple as saying, I was listening to this crazy Canadian and he was talking about creating a community. And that got me thinking, wouldn't it be amazing if we created a community of people like us where we're working toward shared goal? So you're talking about what the idea is, where it came from. Second part of the message is now you want to cast the vision and you want to be upfront. You want to say, I actually don't have any of this created. Right now, it's just a raw idea. Like nothing has been created, but here's where I see it going. I see this becoming the community for people like us who are working toward XYZ goal. And I see every single week and every single month us continuing to make progress, supporting each other, blah, 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 blah. So you want to start casting the vision for what you see this becoming. Third part of the message is now you're going to extend an invite for people to join as the founding members. Now, Melanie, this is typically where when I'm sharing this, people get a little squirrely. They're like, "What? Wait, what do you mean? I don't have anything created. What are you talking about? Like invite people?" That's exactly what I'm saying. I want you to invite people. So in that third part of the message, you would say something like, "If this sounds interesting, I want to invite you to come join us as a founding member." And as a founding member, I'm going to do 2 things. Number 1 is I'm going to give you the absolute lowest founding member price. When I launch this to the general public, the price is going to go up, but your price will forever stay the same low price for as long as you remain a member in good standing. So you'll get savings now and you'll get savings ongoing in the future. And number 2 is I want your feedback. Like I want your input to help shape the direction that we take this. And so getting in on the ground floor means you're going to have a much closer connection to me because I'm seeking that feedback in the early days. Fourth part of the message is you're going to give them a call to action. So what do you want them to do? Maybe it's hit reply to this email, or maybe it's send me a direct message, or whatever it is. You want a clear call to action where people could raise their hand and say, I'm interested. And then the fifth part is when people say, I'm interested, don't ghost them. Like, it feels really good when you get a bunch of people that are like, hey, I'm interested in this idea that you haven't even created yet. You're going to feel good. You're going to be like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. But then interest doesn't pay the bills. Like we have to then send them a payment link. And again, this is where people get sometimes squirrely because they'll be like, oh, so I got to go create a sales letter. Oh, I got to go create a sales video. Oh, I got to go. No, you don't. No. You answer any questions in the follow-up, and then you send them a simple Stripe checkout or PayPal checkout link where they can pay. And that is your founding member launch. We just had somebody who recently did this in our community. He is in a community where he serves real estate agents. And he put it out to his community, and he started with $50 a month for his founding member launch. He had 38 people, just like that, who said, yep, I'm in. 38 people who said yes. And now he's got real people who are in that membership. He's generating real recurring revenue in that membership before he's created anything. Like, how amazing is that? And so that comes from us getting out of our own way, keeping it super simple, realizing that we can get started with a founding member launch today by crafting one message that explains the idea, casts the vision, invites people to join as a founding member with a clear call to action, and then we follow up with the payment link. It can be done literally by the end of today if people get out of their own way.
I love your sense of urgency, Stu. That is something that I'm always 100% behind. I'm like, there's no excuses, like burn the boats, like let's go. And I love that you kind of made it so simple, so clear that even a fifth grader, no, I'm silly. Just, you could literally do this by the end of today. And like Stu said, at least by the end of the week, because I think this will air on a Monday. So definitely doable. I love how you broke it down into the simple steps and to not get hung up on the tech and to just make a link, just ask. You've got to just make it messy, make it happen. it's for your piece that we talked about, that recurring revenue can provide.
Absolutely. And the other thing that I will say is oftentimes people will get twisted up because they'll think, well, what if it doesn't work? And as I said before, like to me, this is just an experiment. Like this doesn't mean that your idea sucks. It doesn't mean that you suck. It just means that whatever you're saying is not in alignment with what the market wants. And it's better to find that out before you go and spend time, energy, and effort creating. But the other thing that I love holding space for is like, what if it does work? And what if it works way better than you ever imagined? We have so many stories in our community of people who didn't have gigantic audiences. They didn't have tens of thousands of people. They didn't even have thousands of people. Like, if you have an audience of 200 people or more on any social platform or email list or subscribers to YouTube or whatever, you have more than enough to be able to begin with a founding member launch. And I think of Jennifer Chamberlain. So she never thought of herself as like a business guru. She just loved painting and wanted to share that passion with other women her age, which was in the 50 plus category. And she started with a founding member launch. She welcomed just over 20 people in her founding member launch. Like, not massive numbers, right? 20 people. But by the end of that first year, the 20 had grown to 100. And by the end of the second year, the 100 had grown to just over 200. And then in that, between the second and third year, she hit her inflection point, which her identity started to shift because she was like, you know what? Like, I am a businesswoman. Like, I am running a membership business. Like, it is generating thousands of dollars a month. And that shift in identity helped her go from 200 members to more than 2,000 members in that third year. And that's when it hit a 7-figure membership business. I share that because we have examples like this over and over and over again. And it's starting from wherever you're starting. For her, it was 20 members that then led to thousands of members. And so I just want to encourage people, you can do this and you can do this today. And with memberships, it doesn't take much before the income starts adding up. Like 20 members at $50 a month, that's an extra $1,000 a month. Like, that's a car payment. That's groceries. That's like, part of your, mortgage payment. Like, that's a lot from just 20 members. Like, it doesn't take much to be able to have a big impact. And that's why I want to encourage everybody to start today.
That is awesome. I love that. The beauty in that story, just that the key I hear over and over is just get started. And
Yeah.
I also love the idea that you threw in the mindset portion, because a lot of us need to work on that, but it doesn't mean you have to have that all figured out before you get started. Hers didn't come till the third year. So
Right.
just getting your feet wet, getting this going, doing that founding member launch that you talked about, I feel like is all super important. So let me ask, if you were wanting to do this founding member launch and you wanted it to be, you kind of had an idea because you'd seen someone else be very successful with the same concept. So you know that it's a viable idea. How can you make it irresistible?
Mm. Well, typically somebody's going to join a membership because they want to improve some area of their life. They don't know how to paint. They want to become a great artist. They don't know how to grow the Instagram business and they want a big following. They have a dog that's wildly out of control and they want the perfect puppy. Like, they're joining your membership because they are looking to improve their life in some area. If you want a membership that continues to thrive month after month, year after year, if you want a membership where people are raving about it and they're telling everybody to join, just focus on one simple thing. And that's helping people experience progress toward whatever outcome or transformation that they're after. And so if you obsess over that, you begin to realize inside of a membership, it's not about the volume of content. It's not about loading people up with so much content, because all of that leads to overwhelm. And overwhelm is the number one reason that people cancel. What you begin to obsess about is how you help facilitate people learning what to do and how to do it, and then bridging the gap between them actually doing it. So a membership, the success of a membership boils down to your ability, my ability to help people experience progress. We are in the happiness business. As long as people are making progress, they're going to be happy. And as long as they're happy, they're going to stay. And isn't that an amazing form of accountability that like we get paid to make sure that people are happy and progressing toward whatever goal that they're after? Like that's amazing. And so as long as we obsess over that and we just continuously ask ourselves questions like, where are people getting stuck? How can I make that easier? What tools could I create? What resources could I produce that would help them implement easier, faster? Even as an example, like this year with our signature course, every couple of years, we refilm the course to make sure that the content is most up to date. We typically have a lot more stories and examples. This year, we did an even bigger overhaul because what I started to notice was an objection that was bubbling up to the surface. And the objection was, "Well, I just don't have time. I just don't have time. I don't have time. I don't have time. I don't have time." And I thought to myself, like, okay, how could we make and compress time so that it's even easier for people? So this year, as an example, we did something where typically we have 6 modules, and inside of each module, there's 7 to 10 lessons. This year, however, we identified what we are calling the core 4. These are the 20% that will get you 80% of the results. So the way I explain it is I said, look, if you're strapped for time, just stick with the core 4. In 30 minutes or less a week, you'll get the 20% that's going to produce 80% of the results. Now, if you're the kind of person that wants to do the deep dive, then we have deep dive lessons for you in each module as well. But if you're strapped for time, focus on the core 4. So time out. What have I done here? I've taken that challenge that people are facing and I've made it even easier by creating clarity and focus for people. I haven't added more content. I've actually streamlined the focus for them to make it easier. And that's the obsession that we've got to have is like, where are people getting stuck? How can we make it easier? How can we get them to result and progress even faster? And if you do that, your membership will thrive.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And that makes me think of a couple of things when it comes to memberships, having maybe some sort of module at the beginning that says how they can make the most of their time in the membership or how they can best benefit from the membership. And maybe highlight and showcase like you have your top offers in the membership, top like most popular things in the membership, depending on yours. And so I think that is gold. So making it irresistible is just simply keeping out that overwhelm and making it where people want to come back over and over again. And I love that you said, always be tweaking, looking for ways that you can make their life better, their experience smoother, and them wanting to go out and, like we talked about, rave about your membership, bring in the new people for you, and that's going to help you grow as well.
And
So,
the way, sorry, one quick second there, Melanie. The way that, and the reason that they will rave is when they're making progress. When somebody says like, "Oh my gosh, your art looks amazing," and they say, "Hey, you should have seen it a year ago." But thanks to like being inside this membership, yeah, my skills have like improved tremendously. Or when somebody says and compliments them on the relationship that they have with their kids, and they said, "Well, it wasn't like that a few years ago, but because of being a part of this membership, yeah, we've had all kinds of ideas and strategies to deepen our relationship with our kids." And so I share this because the reason that people will rave is because of the progress that they're making. So if you obsess over that progress, you have all these incredible success stories, and that is your greatest marketing asset, bar none. And so that's how you make it irresistible, because when people see all of these stories of success, they see themselves in those stories. And that's what makes them want to join and experience it for themselves. So as long as people are getting results, people will continue to stay and it'll attract more and more people into the membership.
what are some examples of how we as membership owners can foster this progress, like
Mm.
acknowledgement of the progress? Like, how can we make that something that they recognize on the regular?
Yeah. Well, one of the things that I recommend is creating a tool called a success path. And essentially, that's like the journey of going from where they are to where they want to be. So think of it like, I'll just use the painting example again. So somebody who doesn't know how to paint all the way to an amazing artist. Well, somebody doesn't make that jump with one big step. There's a progression that happens. So what we want to do is we want to break down that journey into different stages. And the reason is because it then creates clarity for people in terms of where they should put their energy. So somebody at the beginning stages is probably not going to spend any time on advanced techniques because it doesn't make sense. They got to learn the essentials first. And so what we can do is we can say, you know what? Don't worry about any of that stuff. Just focus on these few things right now. And if you focus on these few things, you'll make progress and you'll get to the next stage where you'll have a different area of focus. That is like a huge weight off of people's shoulders because now they're like, oh, thank goodness. Like, I was getting overwhelmed thinking I got to learn all these things. No. You just need to focus on these few things. And then likewise, let's say somebody's at the more advanced stages. We say, don't worry about all of that. Just focus on these things right now to get the most out of this membership. And so creating that success path, breaking the journey down now provides clarity for people in terms of where they should put their focus. And you're going to see far more engagement and far more progress because people aren't getting overwhelmed by all the things. They're focusing on the few things that really matter for them.
So, Stu, you wrote an amazing book this year
Thank you.
called Predictable Profits. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, this is my 17 years of experience distilled down into 250 pages. And I'm so stinking proud of this thing because we poured everything into it. And the reason is because I am on a mission. I'm on a mission to help creatives. I'm on a mission to help creators and influencers. I'm on a mission to help bloggers and podcasters and speakers and authors. I'm on a mission to help entrepreneurs generate more recurring revenue in their business because I know when that recurring revenue is coming in, you do not experience anywhere near the amount of stress or uncertainty that 99.9% of business owners experience. And so I'm passionate about this book and I'm proud of this book. And I know that if somebody grabs a copy of this book, in which you can get on Amazon, or you can also get it for free. We'll send a copy to you for free. Just pay for shipping by going to freemembershipbook.com. But either way, this book breaks down the process of launching a successful membership. And I spent as much time on the content as I did the experience of reading the book. So one of my favorite reviews recently on Amazon was somebody said, I have not read a book front to back in over 2 years. This was the first book that I read from start to finish. And I was so proud of that. And the reason is because we broke the whole thing down into bite-sized chapters. So you feel momentum as you're going through it. And not only that, but like all throughout the book, we have different pictures for you throughout the book. See, I love a good picture. In fact, my publisher was like, Stu, you have too many pictures. This is not a picture book. This is a business book. I'm like, I know, but I like the pictures. So I had to reduce them. What happens is I paid as much attention to the experience of reading this book as I did the content. And why that's important is because it builds on the principles of what I'm teaching. If people don't consume the content, they can't get the value from it. But I know if you consume this content, you'll get so much value from it. And so I'm really proud of the book. I'm really proud of what's in it. And I'm proud of the result that it's getting for people.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So we'll link everything below for you guys, including a workshop that you have coming up. Tell us a little bit about this exciting workshop.
Well, today together, we talked about the founding member launch. And during this free workshop, we're going to walk people through that process. And people will launch their membership during the free workshop and will be getting paying members during the free workshop. And what I want is for everybody watching and listening to experience that. And so I just want to encourage everybody, come join us for the free workshop. It is a series of videos that get released starting on May 8th. And in those videos, I walk you through the process. Now, there's an option to upgrade if you want to VIP, where we jump on calls the day after each of the lessons are released. and we workshop it like in real time, like on Zoom. Like we are implementing the very thing that you just learned in the video that was released the day before. And so for people that want a more intimate hands-on experience, then upgrade to VIP. But the free workshop itself will walk you through this process of launching your membership. And my hope is that everybody watching and listening come and join us, because it will happen for you when you follow the steps, and they're all outlined. And we even provide you prompts and templates so that you don't even have to think about what to say. It actually does 95% of the heavy lifting for you. So now everything is created. There's no excuses to not get your membership out into the world and start generating recurring revenue. And so that's why I'm pumped about the free workshop that's coming up, because people will have paying members coming into their membership before they've created anything, which is going to absolutely create all kinds of momentum and joy, when they start seeing that happening. So come join us for the free workshop, and we'll walk you through the process.
I'm excited. You guys. Listen, if you did not know about this opportunity, now you do. I love how it's no excuses. You have the opportunity to have Stu hold your hand and walk you through a founding member launch. You've heard about all the benefits and all of the things that it can create for you and your family and your financial future. I think that there's really zero reason that everyone shouldn't consider this as a recurring form of revenue, which is memberships. So I'm going to put everything below for you guys so that you can easily tap and get the book, easily tap and join the workshop, easily tap and change your life. So Stu, thank you so much for being my guest today.
Oh, it was a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Have a good day.
You too.
Thank you so much, my friend, for tuning in each and every week. If you learned something new or were inspired from today's episode, I would be incredibly grateful if you would take a minute and just leave a review. Bonus points if you share this episode by screenshotting it and tagging me on social at Creatives on Fire Podcast. I'll share you in my stories when you do. In the meantime, keep rocking your business, and don't forget, no one else will ever be you. And that is your creative superpower.